Initiate countdown to review. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Grimlock take 2. What's up, Bugheads, and welcome back to ElChizzoReviews. Today we're looking at a Grimlock. Generations Grimlock, to be exact. Relax, this won't be nearly as cringy as my last video with a Grimlock figure. I saw this guy being sold for 16 bucks on eBay and decided that it would make for a good review. I was not disappointed in this guy. He does a lot of clever things with his mold and his transformation that really impressed me. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. Starting with his T-Rex mode, we can see that he looks decidedly more canine than some of his other counterparts. Also, check out the light piping on this Bonnie Wee Bunny's T-Rex mode. I can't think of any other Grimlocks who do light piping like this. It's a little tricky to get the lights oriented to the point where you can really appreciate it. But once you do, he lights up like a Christmas tree. Let's see if I can orient the lights. Nope, can't do it. Oh, guess you can kind of see it. Moving down, or rather back, we see loads of panel detail, molded in and highlighted with a really nice panel wash. Unfortunately, this panel wash only covers the top half of the body, rather the front. I'm so used to the the upright Grimlock figures, or at least I'm used to my other one. I don't have any more. Sad. Like I said, bleh. You can see a little bit of his robot mode peeking out from behind this thigh here. But we'll ignore that for now. And of course, moving back, we see his tail. Just segmented in this really amazing way that makes it look very imposing with lots of molded detail and some great gold paint to break up the gray. He has an impressive range of articulation in this mode, starting with his head, which can look up or down, and has a separately articulated jaw. His little arms are on ball joints, so they've got a pretty decent range of motion. Not much to speak of, but hey, they're T-Rex arms. I don't know why you would need to pose them that much anyway. His legs can move forward, back, and out about that much. He's sporting a nice thigh swivel and average knees. And he can tow in, well, backwards. I was going to say either direction, but that's about as far back as that goes without engaging a transformation hinge. His weapon rotates, but if we remove it, we can see it's just stored there. And there's just this empty post thing that looks kind of sad and lonely when you don't have it there. So we'll just put that weapon back very carefully. I'll cover why in a minute. And my favorite part is his tail. Each segment is articulated on a separate hinge. That blows me away, the attention to detail. I mean, so many Grimlock figures have just like a straight up stick right off the back end of them. That this is actually a welcome change. Also, many of you have probably noticed the Reveal the Shield sticker here. If you've never encountered one of these, and I can't think of a reason why you wouldn't have, they behave like mood rings. You heat them up by rubbing them with your thumb, and it reveals their faction logo in Technicolor. Let's see if I can get it triggered here. We will cover this later. But for now, let's try to get this sticker activated. It's not working. My hands are actually pretty cold. It's freezing out here today, where I am. Maybe if I keep my hand up via the lamp. Come on. Nothing. I'm gonna get so much. I'm just gonna catch so much from the comments telling me how to operate a rub sign. Well. Anywho, now that we've got that out of the way, let's get this bad boy transformed. I won't do this on screen as there's really only one thing that's easily noticeable in one major thing that's easily noticeable in robot mode. So let's have Dave get this ready. Dave! Dave!
What?
Get in here and transform this thing.
But I'm playing Devastation.
Now, Dave.
Fine.
Okay, now that we... Get out of the shot, Dave. Now that we've got that done, let me point out some of these glaring changes. First, and most obvious, the T-Rex head became his feet. And his head was actually hidden by his tail. It's like Hasbro built him in reverse. Because of most of you who have played with Generation 1 Reissue, Generation 2, or a Fall of Cybertron Grimlock, will know that it's usually the other way around. That his head is hidden by the T-Rex head, and the tail becomes his feet. So I guess he just wears the Rex Tyrannus as a pair of fancy shoes now? If heels are your thing, man. Secondly, and they don't show you this in the instructions, his chest here, with the pretty spark crystal I might add, is a separate panel that you have to rotate around to get his arm situated correctly. Aside from his head, fists, and his thighs here, just the general groin area, there's nothing new that's really revealed here. So let's just get right into articulation. His arms don't really peg in at all. They're designed to, but the peg is too small or the port is too big or something like that. If I can show you. See that peg right there is meant to go into that port. But it's too small, so there's no friction. The panels that fold out from around the robot mode head look like they're meant to hold it down, but again, they do not do a good job. And I, for the life of me, cannot get them to hold. And it looks like Dave couldn't either. Dave, I thought you said we were going to put floor polish on this thing to thicken it. I'm so glad I only pay him in peanuts. But, you know, it's a minor gripe, because there seems to be enough friction in the hinges to hold it all together, as long as you're not being too rough with it. Aside from that minor gripe, he has even more range now that the dino legs are robot arms, though they have all the same points of articulation. No wrist swivel, but that's not a major thing. And what I mean by all the same points is, his arms move out, he's got the same... The knee is now the elbow, so he's got that same range of elbow. And he's got a bicep swivel. That is difficult to use without unpegging the arm. Again, I apologize. His head can swivel, but it's so small that you almost barely notice it. By the way, epic light piping on this bad boy. He has about 90° of bend in his knees, if I can show that off. I'm going to set this off to the side because it is supposed to do this, but we will return to that later. 90° of bend in his knees, and his hips are on ball joints, so they get some pretty good range there. He has some foot articulation. He can toe down if that serves any purpose to you. Can't really toe up. And of course, the jaw is now split into 2 heels, so you can articulate those as well. Now that we've got pretty much the entirety of his articulation out of the way, let's move on to his accessories, shall we? His blaster here is a nice touch, integrating a blade so we can get some sick melee action with it. Although this blaster is on a hair trigger. If you graze this trigger, it will go off, then the missile goes flying. So be careful or you will lose it. As a matter of fact, for the rest of this review, I'm going to disengage it. And set that there so I don't accidentally bump it. And that tail, which we had earlier, is actually meant to be disengaged. And if you see that port there, what I like to do is fold it in like so, and stick it on his arm like such. And it becomes this epic whip club, which I'm actually really a big fan of, because what they did was they took something that would otherwise just kind of be awkward and in the way, hanging off his back, and turned it into something that can actually be used roleplay-wise, or, you know, when you're playing around with the figure. Overall, I'm really impressed with this toy. Generations Grimlock is a really fun toy, and I'm proud to have him in my collection. Generations, as a toy line, has an interesting history that I might go into after I've reviewed a few more figures in the line. I would highly recommend buying one if you can find it at a reasonable price. Now that I have nothing more to say about this toy, let's wrap this video up. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, and comment. Share this video with anyone who you think would be interested, and follow me on social media. I'll leave my links to those below. Also, if you like to listen to people rant about free-to-play Steam games and watch them goof around in Destiny, check out my buddy JT Game TV. I'll leave you a link to his channel in the description as well. Thanks again. Remember to shop smart, and I'll see you next time.